Early that morning, a deputy sheriff knocked on my door with an eviction notice. My son-in-law stood across the street laughing and shouting, "Hurry up, old man! This house is ours now!" I calmly looked at the papers, smiled, and asked the deputy one simple question. His face went pale. "My name is Walter Benson, and at 71 years old, I'd learned one lesson better than most people. Never panic when someone thinks they've already won. The house they were trying to throw me out of wasn't just a home. It was the place my late wife Eleanor and I had built together 43 years earlier. Every brick, every flower bed, every creaky floorboard carried a memory. After she passed away from cancer, that house became the last place where I could still feel close to her. My daughter Melissa had begged me for years to let her and her husband Eric move in temporarily, just until we save enough for our own place, she promised. Temporary turned into 3 years. At first, I didn't mind. I loved having my grandchildren around. I paid the property taxes, covered the insurance, repaired the roof after a storm, and even replaced Eric's truck engine when he couldn't afford it. I never asked for a dime. Looking back, maybe that was my biggest mistake. Eric slowly began acting like he owned everything. He changed the locks without asking. He parked his expensive pickup in my garage while making me leave my old Ford outside. He told visitors it was his property. Whenever I corrected him, he'd laugh. "Paperwork doesn't matter, Walter. Family matters." Apparently, family only mattered when I was paying the bills. Things became worse after Melissa convinced me to create a living trust. "It's just easier for estate planning," she said. She even introduced me to an attorney. I trusted her. Why wouldn't I? She was my daughter. Months later, strange letters started arriving from the county assessor's office. Eric always insisted on bringing in the mail. "No reason for you to worry about paperwork," he'd say. One afternoon, I noticed my bank statements had stopped coming too. When I asked about them, Melissa claimed they'd switched to electronic delivery. I believed her. Then one evening, I overheard Eric talking on the phone. "Yeah," he laughed. "The old man has no clue. Once everything clears, we'll have the house free and clear." A cold feeling settled in my stomach. The next morning, while they were out shopping, I drove to the county recorder's office. What I discovered nearly made me collapse. Someone had filed a quitclaim deed transferring ownership of my home. The signature looked like mine. It wasn't. Someone had forged it. The clerk quietly suggested I contact both the sheriff's department and a real estate attorney immediately. I did. The attorney smiled after reviewing everything. "Mr. Benson," she said, "this isn't just civil fraud. This could become a criminal case." She instructed me not to confront anyone. Instead, we gathered evidence. Bank records, security camera footage from the notary office, handwriting experts, phone records, everything. The investigation lasted almost 2 months. I pretended I knew nothing. Eric became bolder every day. He even started remodeling my kitchen without asking. One night he raised a glass during dinner. "To new beginnings," he grinned. Melissa smiled beside him. I simply nodded. Inside, I was counting the days. Then came that unforgettable morning. The deputy sheriff arrived carrying an eviction packet. Across the street, Eric stood beside his truck with several friends. "Hurry up, old man," he yelled. "Guess you're finally homeless." The deputy looked uncomfortable. "I'm sorry, sir. I have to serve these papers." I accepted them politely. Then I asked one question. "Deputy, before you enforce this order, were you informed that the deed used to obtain it has already been reported as evidence in an active felony forgery investigation?" The deputy froze. "What?" I handed him a certified copy of the case file from my attorney. He read the first page. His expression completely changed. He stepped away and called his supervisor. Within 15 minutes, 2 detective cars arrived. Then another sheriff's SUV. Eric stopped laughing. One detective walked directly toward him. "Eric Collins? Yeah? We need to ask you a few questions regarding real estate fraud, identity theft, forgery, and filing false legal documents."